It's Dexter the scout dog on duty as he makes sure this 40-foot, 32,000-pound behemoth of a motorhome gets safely over the low water crossing on the Blanco River that must be crossed in order to get to the campsite in Texas's Blanco State Park.
Hey Roamers, I'm Jamie.
I'm Linda.
And this is Roaming with Rosie. Today we're in Fredericksburg, Texas.
Which was founded in 1846 by German immigrants.
Just 30 miles north of San Antonio.
And we found out that if immigrants were willing to come from Germany, they got a plot for a house and a farm, but they had to make it from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up here, pretty much on foot.
On this episode of Roaming with Rosie.
This is Texas Hill Country. The rugged hills that give the hill country its name are composed of granite and limestone. Most hills rise 400 to 500 feet above the surrounding plains and valleys. So much Texas and U.S. history has roots in this area. As you spend time here, you can't help but marvel at the strength and determination of those who either settled or came from here. On this episode, you'll hear the stories of some of those people who made a difference for future generations. Our base camp was Blanco State Park in Blanco, Texas, about 75 miles north of San Antonio and part of the Texas State Park system. Since we were planning to spend some time in Texas this year, we went ahead and purchased an annual pass for $70, which gives us free admission and discounted camping. This state park is located along a mile of the Blanco River on the southern edge of Blanco, Texas. The river's name comes from its white limestone ledges and river bottom, which dates back to the age of the dinosaurs. Ranchers donated or sold their land to create Blanco State Park in 1933. With 104.5 acres, it's one of the smallest state parks in Texas. The Civilian Conservation Corps, CCC, worked for 11 months building bridges, dams, structures, picnic areas, and roads. The CCC transformed that landscape and created a park where Texans could swim, fish, and camp. Depending on the season, it also features screened shelters which are available to rent, tubing, kayaking, or canoeing, and there's some easy trails where you may spot various wildlife and plenty of birds. Fredericksburg, which is an easy day trip from Blanco, was founded in 1846 by German immigrants under the Society for the Protection of German Immigrants in Texas. This society was formed in 1842 while Texas was still a republic to establish a new Germany on Texas soil. We were able to see the actual landing point for these German immigrants just a few weeks later when we traveled to Indianola along Matagorda Bay on Texas's east coast. These markers here in what was called Indian Point tell the story how in 1845 thousands arrived and were stranded because their agents had gone broke. When disease began to claim many lives on the shore, their only hope to find food and shelter was to start toward the land they'd been promised. Out of about 6,000 German immigrants who landed in the Republic of Texas, no more than 1,500 ever reached their destinations of Fredericksburg and New Braunfels. In 1846, after traveling 225 miles across Texas, the first group arrived in Fredericksburg. Our first stop was the Fredericksburg Visitor Information Center, with a knowledgeable staff to answer your questions, plus free maps and brochures, public restrooms, and ample free parking. This is the ideal spot to start your Fredericksburg adventure. One of the town's most unique historical features are Sunday houses. Those German immigrants received a town lot and a 10-acre plot of land in the countryside to farm. Many built small, simple houses on that town lot and then more permanent homes on their farmland. These Sunday houses were specifically for the purpose of having a place to conduct business, socialize, and attend church in town. Far from the Pacific Ocean and the islands where much of World War II in the Pacific was fought, Fredericksburg seems an unlikely location for the National Museum of the Pacific War. The story of the museum's origin began here on Main Street in February 1885. Chester William Nimitz was born to his recently widowed mother. His paternal grandfather, who was one of those original immigrants, filled in as a father figure for him. Who knew that that infant would someday lead the combined U.S. force to victory over Japan in World War II? The eventual admiral's grandfather, Charles Henry Nimitz, loved the sea. He was a sea captain before he migrated to Texas, and that's why he remodeled this hotel he purchased to look like a steamship. In its heyday, the hotel hosted such guests as President Rutherford B. Hayes and Ulysses S. Grant. Grandson Chester graduated from the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis and was destined to rise to become one of the Navy's foremost administrators and strategists.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
10 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Rear Admiral Nimitz was selected by President Franklin D. Roosevelt to be the Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet. He was quickly promoted to the rank of Admiral and eventually became Fleet Admiral, the highest rank in the Navy. In the 1960s, the citizens of Fredericksburg sought to honor their hometown hero with a museum revering his military accomplishments. But, true to his humble character, Nimitz said no. Instead, he agreed to a museum that honored all people who served with him in World War II. The hotel was closed, renovated, and reopened as a museum on the anniversary of Admiral Nimitz's birth, February 24, 1967. Because we had Dexter with us on this visit to Fredericksburg, we spent our time checking out the grounds and perimeter of the museum, but will most certainly return for an entire day to view inside the museum itself. The entire 6-acre complex of the National Museum of the Pacific War connects us to those affected by World War II in the Asiatic Pacific Theater. In 1976, a Japanese Garden of Peace was added as a bicentennial gift from the people of Japan to the people of the United States. It symbolizes a firm friendship between the two countries. Fredericksburg is unique in that many of the original structures in the town survive and are still used today as shops and restaurants. Most of the old buildings are marked with plaques that proclaim the various uses over the years. More than 50 wineries, vineyards, and tasting rooms are located in Fredericksburg's Gillespie County, as well as breweries and distilleries that you can visit. As we toured, we noticed that the streets are wide in Fredericksburg, and it's said that the town's founders wanted a full team of oxen to be able to turn around in the street. The Vereins means society church, and it was built in 1847. It served as a town hall, a school, a fort, and a church where all denominations held their services. This reproduction was constructed in 1935 and moved to its present location on Main Street in the 60s. An extension of the Pioneer Museum, it stands as a tribute to the courage and vision of Fredericksburg's founders. Strolling Main Street is a walk through time. This building was originally constructed in 1909 as a general store and residence. But in 1938 it was expanded and converted into Keitel Memorial Hospital by Dr. Albert Keitel. Today the repurposed building is still in the family, and it's now a popular gourmet kitchen store and a restaurant. The White Elephant Saloon was built in 1888. 3 sets of double doors provide entry to the saloon. To put the finishing touch on the front of his fancy saloon, John Kleck hired stonemasons to carve an elephant and attach it to the outside wall above the middle door. The White Elephant Saloon served the men of Fredericksburg until Prohibition. Scheduled to open in summer of 2022, the new Albert Hotel will cover 2 acres. It will incorporate a refreshed White Elephant Saloon as well as 3 other historical structures from the 1800s. This building at 222 Main Street was built in the 1850s. It's been a pharmacy, a jewelry store, a musical instrument store, and a domino parlor. It's now the home of Grandma Daisy's gift shop and worth a visit to this cute boutique filled with something you probably need. Strolling Fredericksburg's Main Street will make you thirsty, hungry, and most certainly laugh. Humorous, attention-getting chalkboard sandwich board signs lure you into various shops. For me, the highlight of the day was a visit to Rustling Rob's. We completely forgot about history for a bit and entered what you could only call an amusement park for food tasting. Forget Costco sample ladies who practically slap your hand every time you try to take a second helping. This place encourages you to taste everything, and I mean everything. We were literally like kids in a candy store. What
The
you
hot
got?
jalapeno jelly.
Ooh, hot jalapeno jelly. Making a sandwich. How do you like your sandwich?
Good.
Yeah? Pickles? Thumbs up.
Good.
Hatch chili bacon ranch dip. Another sandwich.
Smoky maple bacon mustard.
Built of the hand-hewn limestone that's the foundation of Texas Hill Country in 1897, the Shenandoah was a home upstairs and the family's hardware business downstairs. The building continued to operate as a hardware business until 1972. While the downstairs is still used for retail, the upstairs until recently was available to rent as a bed and breakfast. The 2-room suite features 12-foot ceilings. Online reviews touted the luxurious, sophisticated setting with fine linens, as well as an adjoining library room with floor-to-ceiling books. Built in 1882 with native limestone, the original Texas Hill Country Courthouse sits to the north of the current courthouse. Both the new and the old are on the same square. It's now the Fredericksburg Memorial Library and is listed as such on the National Register of Historic Places. A day trip to Fredericksburg was just enough to make sure we wanted to come back and spend some time here. There are numerous museums, cultural events, and festivals, vineyards, farms with pick-your-own peaches, and so much more. On our next trip through this area, you can be sure we'll find a nice campsite and hang out for a bit. Hey roamers, have you heard what's happened for this channel? We've grown big enough, thanks to you, to have our very own storefront on Amazon.
On there you'll find some of the products and equipment we use and recommend on our videos.
Plus you can support Roaming with Rosie simply by doing your everyday Amazon shopping using one of our links.
We only recommend specific products we use and approve of as participants in the Amazon Associates program and other affiliate partnership programs.
Sometimes we do earn a small commission when you purchase using our links and codes found in the descriptions of our videos and on our website.
And we're able to share with you deals and discounts through those links.
We want you to know that we're thankful for each and every one of you for watching and sharing our videos with your family and friends.
And if you're not yet a subscriber, make sure and hit that subscribe button.
And ring that bell so you'll be notified each time we put out a new video.
And make sure to leave a comment, that way you can be part of the conversation.
Until next time,
See ya.